Let me ask you a question. Does this look like the face of someone who deserves to be making $200,000 a year? I think so. That's the reason why I sit at this desk working from home in my software sales job, making cold calls for 11 to 12 hours a day. If you would like to make $200,000 a year, if you think you deserve to make more, I want you to hit the like button below. I'll give you a second. I know it takes some time. Thank you for doing that. In this video, I'm sharing with you enterprise software sales salaries, why software sales is so lucrative. I don't actually make $200K a year, but I will be making $200K a year within the next 2 years. I started working 2.5 years ago as an SDR right out of college. I'm gonna break down how much I made as an SDR. I'm gonna break down exactly how much I make as an account executive, and I'm gonna break down that career trajectory, that career arc, going from entry-level SDR, BDR, to account executive, to enterprise SaaS, enterprise software sales rep, and how much you can expect to make. You absolutely can make more than $200,000 a year within the first 5 to 8 years out of college. Incredibly lucrative profession. So I think if you're looking to get in software sales, or if you're already in sales, you're really gonna enjoy this video, so watch till the end. In order to build the sales foundational skill set and put yourself in a position to easily be making over $200,000 a year, in software sales, you need to start as an SDR, sales development representative, or BDR, business development representative. The purpose of this role is top of the funnel activities. That means pipeline generation. So primarily you'll be doing prospecting, setting up meetings with potential customers, working closely with account executives, quota-carrying reps to set up meetings for them and penetrate their accounts. You can expect to be an SDR or BDR for the first 1 to 3 years of your career. On average, you can expect to make between $50,000 and $90,000 between that tenure. As you become more senior as an SDR, you will increase your earning capabilities. When I first accepted my SDR job right out of college, my on-target earnings, so a mix of my fixed base pay each year and variable commission pay, so based on my performance, was $50,000. I ended up making $80,000. My next promotion, my on-target earnings was, I think, $65,000 or $80,000. I ended up making $110,000. So make sure your company has uncapped accelerators. And that means if you go over your number, you'll get paid more and you can continuously make more, and it can be really lucrative. If you are a high-performing good SDR, you will have everything you need to succeed as an account executive. An account executive is the next career movement after you prove yourself as an SDR or BDR. AE stands for account executive, and you essentially are carrying a quota. You'll most likely work with companies in either small business markets, so sub 100 million in revenue, mid-market, 100 million in revenue to 500 to a billion. Quick interruption from your scheduled programming. If you're enjoying this content, make sure to hit the subscribe button below. It really helps the channel. Thanks, guys. Depending on your company, you're gonna work with varying levels of account sizes. Me personally, I work with all organizations within the South market, and that's just states in the South. I'm not gonna get into the specifics, but I work with companies from 10 million in revenue all the way up to 2 to 3 billion in revenue. My quota each quarter is essentially $120,000 of net new business that I need to close. SaaS, if you don't know what it stands for, is software as a service. So you're working with organizations trying to understand what is their challenge, what is the pain they're facing, and then what is the expected outcome if we were to fix that with our software. If we build that business case, we then sell them our software. Typically, it's an annual subscription-based model, software as a service. So I sell you a license, you agree to an annual contract, you pay up front, and then when that next year comes around, there's a slight increase in contract value, and they incentivize us as reps to try and sell multi-year agreements. So you can imagine how lucrative that becomes. Being that you house software and servers, there's really great margins, which is why companies can afford to pay software sales reps so much. Right now, as a mid-market account executive, 2.5 years out of college, my on-target earnings is $131,000. I believe I'll easily be able to hit this. I just need to go out and hit my number. I expect to always outperform my number, so I should make more. My next promotion up, hopefully I can do within the next 6 to 9 months. As soon as I get that promotion, my on-target earnings will be $158,000. This is gonna vary by organization. And then once I get that next promotion, which is probably a year and a half, 2 years out, my on-target earnings will be about $185,000, and I will be a senior account executive at that point. and I'm selling into organizations that are a couple billion in revenue, I have less accounts, they're better accounts, they're larger employee sizes, more in revenue, et cetera, et cetera. So you can just see that upward trajectory. You can make a lot of money quick if you come in and perform. Once you really master account executive and the skills you need to know to get really good at, of course, you've already built your foundational top of the funnel pipeline generation. You need to be really good and efficient at that. In the middle of the funnel, it's discovery, it's demoing, it's contract negotiation, it's really creating urgency, identifying compelling events. What is the timeline? What is the budget? What is the pain? What is the problem we're solving? What is their decision process? What is their decision criteria? Who's the economic buyer? I just routed off a lot of different parts of the sales cycle that you need to be able to identify. Think of it as a puzzle. You need to be asking the right questions in order to fill in your puzzle pieces. The better you can put together the puzzle, the better business case you'll have. So the higher probability of actually winning the deals. The more deals you close, the more revenue you create. Therefore, the more quota relief you have, the more of your number you hit, and the faster you promote and the more money you make. So it's all a cycle, and it's really important about being effective. When you start to master that, you will then become an enterprise account executive, enterprise SaaS software sales rep. That's when you can make the big bucks. That's when you're making $200,000, and $200,000, based on my experience, guys, is really table stakes. That's entry level. On a bad year as an enterprise rep, I would expect to make 200. On an average year, I would expect to make 250 to 300,000. And then on great blowout years, I'm expecting to make $325 to $400,000. If you're really, really good and you're a really senior level enterprise software sales rep, you can make even more. But your on-target earnings are going to be astronomical. Some organizations, don't be deceived, will say you're an enterprise rep even though you're a senior account executive. But if you're a true enterprise software rep, you're probably working with organizations that are greater than $5 billion in revenue. The reason why you're getting paid so much and the reason why it takes so long into your career, if you're really talented, I think you could do it in 5 years. If you're average, probably 8 to 10 years. And then otherwise probably more than 12 years. Once you get to that point, you're making hundreds of thousands of dollars. The reason why it's so important and the reason why you're getting paid so much is because the deal complexity. Enterprise software deals typically take anywhere from 6 to 12 months. Oftentimes I've seen these deals take upwards of 18 months or longer. There's usually 7 to 10 different decision makers throughout the process. Think about if your account was Google. Think about if you sold product A that helps them to measure IT effectiveness and streamline help desk tickets, something like that, something random IT solution like that. Who would you call in Google? How would you get that started? There's hundreds of thousands of employees. Who would you reach out to? How would you get that going? There's so many different departments. There's so much complexity in those deal cycles. That's why enterprise software sales reps get paid the big bucks, because they do a top-down and bottom-up approach. Let me explain what those mean. Bottom-up approach, you're reaching out to director, VP levels of these different business units and creating buy-in. Top-down, you're going right to Sundar Pichai, the CEO of Google, and some of these chief executives at these different business units. Think of it as an umbrella. If you start high, those folks will control the budget, and whatever they say will dictate the strategy. But if you don't start low and build out that business case by business case by business case, then it's going to be a tough sell. You want to build that business case from the bottom up and then take it to the top, and then it's going to be disseminated down. But if you have that business case, that's how you're really going to sell these deals. The last thing I'll add here is there's a lot of risk. There's a lot of risk. It's a lot of pressure. It's a lot of stress. I was an enterprise SDR for a quarter, so I aligned with our enterprise software sales reps. I worked with them. I cold called into the Ubers, the American Airlines, the Facebooks of the world. And it's a lot easier to get those meetings, but it's really hard to take that meeting and then turn it into something great. Think about it like this. And I just thought of this analogy. I think it's cool. Think about these chef shows where they have these ingredients and the chefs make it so interesting. I've been watching a lot of videos of people making steaks on TikTok and YouTube recently. Just because I give you a steak, just because I give you seasoning, doesn't mean you're going to turn it into a great meal. These chefs are professionally trained and they make it look so easy because they create these great dishes, and even though they may have the same ingredients as you, they're able to do a lot better. Think about it like enterprise software sales as well. Just because I give you the right people to speak with, just because I say, hey, here's the account, go for it, doesn't mean you're going to be able to sell the deal. It doesn't mean you're going to be able to make the recipe just because you have the ingredients. You need to have the skill set of really mastering all levels of the funnel, demand gen, creating buy-in, creating business cases, prospecting, negotiation, closing, leveraging your internal and external ecosystem. There's so much complexity to it, so many moving parts that you need to be a great leader, you need to be great with time management, you need to be a great communicator, you need to be smart, technical. There's so much that goes into it, so many different skill sets that it can be a bit overwhelming. That's why it's high risk, high reward, because you're not guaranteed success. It's something I'm aspiring to be. I'm aspiring to be an enterprise software sales rep as soon as possible in my career. So you can't force it, you can't rush it. You have to build the ingredients, you have to get the freshest ingredients, and you got to build your skill set. It doesn't happen overnight. So if this video pushed you or motivated you in some way, make sure to subscribe to this channel. Like the video if you learned something new today, and let me know in the comments below how I can help you or what other videos you would like to see. Thanks again, guys. See you in the next video. Bye.